Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hey everyone, welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where we answer your questions about, property. So let's get your questions in now. Rob, please direct our wonderful people to where they can get their burning questions answered.
Yeah, could not be easier. Just go to propertyhub.net/ask. There you can leave us a voicemail, or if you want to appear in our Sunday Times column, you can send us a written question there as well. So both at propertyhub.net/ask. But we love people who leave us a voicemail because that means we can answer them there here on this show.
First up, we've got a question in from Sarah.
Hi, Rob and Rob. This is Sarah calling from Hong Kong. I'm a long-time listener and I found your advice to be super helpful over the years in supporting my buy-to-let investment decisions. I have a question. I have 2 buy-to-let properties that were a combined value of approximately $500,000 and have now gone up in value and have a combined value of approximately $700,000. With the increased value, my equity in both properties is about 50%. I have some savings, but not enough for a deposit for a new property. So I'm thinking to take your advice and release approximately £40,000 or £50,000 worth of equity to combine with my savings and use as a deposit to buy a third property. My concern is if I'm being too aggressive or not, if I'm taking on too much debt or not. I'd be looking to put down a mortgage of approximately £70,000 on a property of around £250,000. And I really value your thoughts on this and thank you for all the content you put out there. All the best, Sarah.
Sarah, what a great position to be in. And I appreciate the dilemma because you don't want to get it wrong. You've done well so far and you want to continue on that trend, I'm sure. There will be some people listening to this who will be going, go for it, of course. You've got loads of equity, crack on. And there'll be others listening going, oh, that makes me feel nervous. Sarah, what are you thinking? And that's important to understand and important to understand you as well. How do you feel about risk? Are you going to lose sleep over it? What I will give you is a framework of thinking to hopefully get you over some of that fear. Doesn't mean you should do it, but it's a different way of looking at it rather than going a yes, no. It's looking at it with numbers. And when you take any equity out, you should be putting it into a property that will return enough to pay for that equity. So let's keep it really simple. If you take that 50k out that you've referenced and you're paying 5% on that 50k, you want to be earning that 5% back from that property and actually more. So you have invested and that equity is being paid for. Now, if you were borrowing at 5%, but the areas that you invest are only delivering, say, 2.5% return, maybe you invest in London, for example, then for me, you shouldn't do it because it is costing you to buy that property. And for me, that's not an investment. So leverage is super powerful. We talk about that on the podcast all the time. And I'm a massive fan of leverage, but you should do it in a sensible way. So look at your borrowing costs on that 50,000. Look at the return that you'll get by investing that 50,000. And then for me, if it's more than the amount I'm borrowing for, it becomes quite a comfortable decision. Generally speaking, the amount of leverage that you have now is quite low and quite conservative. We're all different. But when I look at the thousands of investors that we've worked with over the years, they tend to leverage a little higher than you're currently at. So that may give you some comfort, but it shouldn't be about emotion as trying to get you to a point where you feel more comfortable. Make it about the numbers. And then once you've got confidence with numbers, that may give you the confidence to carry on and pursue your next investment. Best of luck, Sarah. Hope it works out for you. Do let us know how you get on.
Good luck, Sarah. Here's our next question from Chris.
Hello, Rob and Rob. I hope you both are well. My name's Chris and I'm from Oxfordshire. One question I have for you guys is that I'm currently a property owner and I'm looking at purchasing a second property. This property would be to rent out. I noticed the increased stamp duty charge for the second property. Is there any way you can go about avoiding that? Or is this something you have to absorb? Your knowledge would be greatly appreciated. And I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Chris, I've got a really quick and really simple answer for you. But unfortunately, it's not one that you'll like. When it comes to stamp duty, it's just something you've got to pay. And that basically is the answer. For an individual buying a property, there are no clever workarounds. If you're building something from the ground up, or you're doing it at an institutional scale, or you're acquiring a portfolio of properties owned by a company, then there are things that you can do to mitigate the impact. But in the straightforward situation that will apply to the vast majority of listeners to this podcast, it's just something you've got to pay. But the reason I think this question is really worth answering, and why I'm glad that you've asked it, is because we do get lots of questions on this subject with different flavors of, oh, well, if I do X, Y, and Z, then does that mean I don't have to pay it? And there may be other examples out there that I'm not aware of, but every situation that I've seen sent in with people just saying, oh, well, if I just do this, does that mean that? No, stamp duty will always apply. And it is annoying, especially given that it's higher for investors, especially given that it's gone up recently, but it's just something you've got to factor into your numbers. If the numbers work, even with the stamp duty as part of your purchase costs, if you're confident the property is going to be profitable, if you're confident that it's going to grow in value over time, then all good. No one likes getting that completion statement from their solicitor and seeing the stamp duty in there. No one likes making that bank transfer, but it's just one of those things you've got to put up with if you want to reap the long-term benefits of property investment. So, Chris, I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but at least it's a simple one.
So that's us done for another week. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Riz. Thank you for listening. We'll be back on Thursday with the Property Podcast in the Sunday Times on Sunday, and back this same time, same place next week, answering more of your questions. Until those wonderful events occur, take care, have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.